think, obviously a difficult economic period because the global economic downturn has been there. I think it's affected all corporates. I'm very pleased with Altech's results in the sense that we've managed to keep our head above water. I think you're right, the translational differences in terms of Forex did affect us because we've got many of our operations in East Africa, which most of them are in Kenya shillings, and then you've got to translate from Kenyan shillings back into rands. So it does have an effect on the business when there's volatility on that Forex side. But all in all, turnover up 5%. We made 784 million rands worth of operating profit, so I'm very happy with the results.
A very big focus over the last financial period was black economic empowerment. Overall for the group, we're looking at level 3. What is your target going forward? Black economic empowerment transactions resulted in a cost of around 2.4 billion rand for the company.
I think we're really proud of what we've achieved on that side. I think there were some independent ratings done by the Financial Mail, and we were ranked right in the top 3 as the top ICT companies that are the most black empowered companies, and Altech was in the top 3. I think that we've done these black empowerment deals that you referred to. We did 3 in the course of this year, and level 3 contributor is exceptionally good. Our targets originally we were targeting for this year to be at level 5, maybe level 4. So I think at level 3 we've surpassed our expectations. I think that we'll continue and push towards level 2. Obviously there's a limit to where you can go because obviously black ownership in terms of the overall equity of the business is a big contributor to those rankings, and obviously we've got Altron as our parent company that owns 60% of Altech. So unless that's in black hands, I don't think our level contribution or contributor, we won't be a level 1 contributor, but we'll probably be able to get to level 2.
With regards to acquisitions, it's also been quite a fascinating year. If you could just take us through some of those. With regards to the likes of Swiss-Tech, you have said that it does unlock significant synergies with other Altech operations. Also interesting to note when you look at the potential acquisition in Latin America, that ultimately was terminated, and also things didn't look so rosy in Cote d'Ivoire, and now we've also seen a lot of political turmoil there. Tell us about the acquisition path over the last financial year.
Altech's always been acquisitive. We've got a very strong balance sheet. As you see, we finished the year with 470 million odd rands worth of cash. We're very acquisitive. We grow organically and we acquire businesses. We've always done that. But again, we're very careful on the acquisition front. So we rifle shot our approach as opposed to a shotgun approach. We rather choose very carefully and make sure that we acquire the right kind of businesses. I think that if we do a due diligence and we see the risks are too high and that the controls are not there and it would be risky for our shareholders, we back off and we don't do the deal. That's exactly what happened in terms of the potential vehicle tracking acquisition we were going to do in Brazil. We did the due diligence. The risk profile was too high. The controls weren't there in the business, the target business we were going to acquire, and we backed off and we walked away from the deal. On other deals, we do the due diligence and we go ahead and do it, like Swiss-Tech. And Swiss-Tech is a major software integrator. It develops software, billing system software, and one of its major customers is Vodacom. So there are very good synergies between Altech ISIS and Swiss-Tech into Vodacom. Plus, they also do a lot of work in ABSA, in the banking environment. So in that case, we went ahead with that acquisition, and we'll do the same this year as well.
Kenya is an interesting space. It is going to be one of your biggest focuses going forward. Revenues did not come in as expected. What are you planning to do going forward to ensure that you are reaching those revenue targets from that region?
I think what's happened there is, you've had the African continent that's been starved of bandwidth in the past, and then the undersea cables landed, and then I think there was a huge frenzy in terms of getting bandwidth and all the rest, and I think with that came a lot of attention, global attention. So now all of a sudden you found a whole lot more competitors in that market than what you had initially, because all of a sudden it was quite high profile. So I think competition has affected some of the performance by having more competitors in that environment for us. But at the same time, I think you mentioned a bit earlier, the translational forex negative effects is what really impacted the East African side. I think I would have liked to have rolled out our network in East Africa, our fiber optic network, a lot faster than what we've done, so we could have done it faster. And I think all of those things are in hand now, and we have high hopes for this new financial year to really deliver some significant results out of East Africa.
Well, delving into some of your divisions, there's never enough time to cover Altech because it is such a big company. Yes. The likes of Altech or Autopage Cellular, it did relatively well. In fact, far better than most had expected, given the fact that we have seen termination rates impacting margins as well. It seems those value-added services is really putting you in good stead. Is that the way forward?
I think if you're purely a voice player, you're going to come under pressure. So you've got to have voice with data. So the internet and broadband is a key element in terms of Autopage's future and any voice provider. And that applies to all the voice companies in South Africa. But like you're saying too, value-added services are key. So we've managed, despite the termination rates coming down, as you correctly say, we've managed to maintain our margins at operating margins at about 5%, just below 5%. And the results were surprisingly good, as you've seen. And the same goes for Netstar. Netstar exceeded their targets and budgets, as you've seen. I mean, they were 13% up on last year at profit after tax level at Netstar. So I'm very happy with those existing companies that we have that did very well. The only area that we could have done better in would have been the East African region.
Where to from here for Altech? The company is getting bigger and bigger by the year, more acquisitions coming to the fore. How does one strike a balance between acquisitions, acquisitive growth and organic growth?
You know, I think the appointment of Jeffrey Hedberg, I think goes, maybe answers the question that you have as well, is that Altech has always been acquisitive. We generally grow our businesses organically quite well. And I think that what you're going to find is that we are going to become even more global, especially with Jeffrey Hedberg being on the management team now. And that appointment was made and announced last night. As you know, he's run Deutsche Telekom, Swisscom, Telkom, Cell C, and he's done an excellent job at all of those businesses. So I'm positive that we're going to be able to take Altech to the next level, and I think you're going to see Altech also being more acquisitive globally, and we're going to make Altech a much more global company going forward.